Hello everyone, my name is Sandy and this is
Lori.
And we are here to share our experience, strength, and hope with you and hopefully receive a lesson or two. Today we're going to talk about one of the most powerful earthquakes that's ever was recorded, and that happened on Good Friday, March 27th, 1964. It was over a 9.2 on the Richter scale. It was a duration of 4 minutes. The tsunami devastated the coastal towns in Alaska, Oregon, California. Waves reached of heights of over 100 feet. We're here today with Lori, who is going to share her personal experience with us and tell us exactly what she went through. Lori, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you, Sandy. March 27th, 1964. The earth started shaking like it never shook before. And that was one of the first songs that I had learned as a child. We had just moved to Alaska from Florida, both my parents being Floridian natives. Everything was new. And so by March and Easter, it's supposed to be sunny and warm. And my mom had 4 little girls. I was the youngest. And we were all a year apart. But she bought us nice Easter outfits to wear and little patent leather shoes. But I'm getting ahead of myself. On Good Friday, at that time, it was like 5 something in the afternoon, my mom had set out food for us on the table. And all of a sudden, it was so loud. It sounded like people were slamming the garage doors, which were underneath the military housing where we lived. My father was in the Army at the Army base of Anchorage, in Anchorage, Alaska. It was Fort Richardson. It didn't stop. The noise was so loud and it was so scary. And I remember looking over at the kitchen and the cabinets opened and everything was falling on the floor. And our dinners were falling on the floor. And one of my sisters started screaming. And my mom said, "Get under the table, get under the table." So we went under the table and one of my other sisters grabbed her a plate of food. So she actually got to eat that night. My father wrapped a towel around him and because he was in the shower and wanted to rescue the television because it was Good Friday, coming up to the World Series. My other sister was in her bedroom and there was a lamp, a ceiling lamp that fell and shattered and she was barefoot. So she had to be separated from us. And it continued like that forever. 4 minutes to a 5-year-old is forever. It was extremely terrifying. After it stopped, my dad got dressed. He says, "I got to go in." And he knew it was an earthquake. My mom at first thought it was a nuclear bomb. And so my dad left to help out the search and rescue. Mom and the rest of my 3 sisters and I went out to behind the barracks, the housing, and one person had a transistor radio because there was no electricity at all. And it was the emergency broadcasting system. And that was the only time I've heard it not as a test. It was an actual emergency. And it was people looking for other people or saying, "I'm fine, I'm at grandma's, come and meet me if you can. And I didn't understand. You know, people were crying and people were so upset and it was scary. We ended up sharing whatever food we had that was still able to be made into a meal without any electricity. And we had a couple people that their houses got messed up worse than ours, and they stayed with us. Well, Easter Sunday was only 2 days later, and the church had been demolished. And so we were meeting at the school. And of course, my mom had us all dressed up in little black patent leather shoes and little hats. And I mean, there's snow and ice everywhere, but that's Alaska. My mom didn't want me to slip on the ice, so she picked me up and was carrying me. And she slipped and fell and broke her skull. There was blood coming out of her ear and her mouth, and she was laying on my leg. And I started screaming. She was completely out. Somebody ran into the church and grabbed the priest, and the priest came out and said, the prayer you say before you die, or the prayer for the dying. And I just kept crying. And then there was an ambulance that came and took her away. And my dad, being in the Army, he had to go back into work. So that's when we learned about Army family, that no matter what, you aren't alone. And the expression, it takes a village. It takes a village to have hope during extreme disasters. And people step up. I learned people are basically good. They have good intentions. And when the rubber hits the road, they're there for you. And I want to be there for anyone else who needs it. So the lesson learned is have hope during any extreme disaster, and lean on each other and lean on God, because God's the one who touches people's heart with love for each other. And that's all I got for now. Back to you, Sandy.
Wow, that was incredible, Lori. Thank you so much for sharing such a riveting story, and I was on the edge of my seat. So thank you for that. And I think that's all we have for this episode. I'm glad everybody joined us today. We'll give you the link in a moment, and you can join us.
I want to also thank Colton Schmidt for his beautiful original music that's accompanying this podcast. Thank you, Colton. He's my grandson.